Very, very warm, good evening. This is Arunfoot Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, arunfoot. It's May the 1st, 2025, and another day to discuss things in regard to Indian football. Let's see if there is something good maybe for once in a while to discuss, or if we're going to go through the things that we've been, of course, speaking quite a lot here on this channel. And and therefore, let's talk about those things. Once more, the reminder before you get into it, I did a longer bit of piece last night or this morning, published it, in regard to is the Supreme Court helping or hurting Indian football with the way that is this getting involved or interfering, some would say. And as always, share this video. Yeah, let more people be part of our conversations. And if you're new to the channel, do subscribe, and therefore let's get started. Okay, so here's the thing I learned from Ashish Negi. Supreme Court cares more about holiday than cases. If MRA is not extended, then we're doomed, and Supreme Court is making sure of it, I guess you want to say. Aditya, didn't I say that yesterday? I mean, yeah, and that's the problem, right? I think the Supreme Court, to me, as I always like to say with all due respect, is not in a position, so let's see what happens. Aditya also says there are multiple power-hungry people who are trying to change the narrative to their favor. Court-appointed marquees who are responsible to talk about the game are mostly giving their own opinion. They keep asking for the MRA agreement papers and its progress for no reason at all, and it's nowhere connected to the case. Chudachand previously tonight to discuss AIFF FSDL as it was a commercial matter. Okay. Aditya, if you've learned this today, I mean, we've been speaking about this now for weeks, for months. This is nothing new, right? And the court is sadly a party to this. That's why I raised yesterday the topic. Now, if someone is going to have the money to take care, so yeah. There is more than 50% chance of MRA not being done early and ISL might start or even get delayed due to the MRA not being signed. Aditya, at the moment, there is no ISL. Who at the moment, is anyone saying that we still have ISL at the moment? So that's a yeah. So in conclusion, no one has an idea about what goes on in Indian football, and they're more interested in giving their opinion, getting holidays, and Bangladeshi people are trying to take its advantage. Yeah, very, very right. That is the problem. If you want to sum it up, that's the problem, that there are people who I like to say don't know what they're doing, trying to organize the federation, and these people harm the system more than anything else. And that's, to me, nothing new. That's been the reality for a while. Late, okay, didn't realize that. But Judge gonna finish Indian football for all, says Renal. I hope not. Wapas aja arunda ab maza nahi raha. Aditya, why? I've got other projects to work on at the moment. Interesting stuff, interesting things. And for me, if there is something interesting in football, I'll surely do it. But at the moment, I'll be very, very honest with you and to you. I'm happy with the things that I'm doing. Again, it's I went to local football this afternoon, saw a good game of football, warm temperatures, 27 degrees. a good game. The underdog gave the top higher division team a fight. Yeah, I'm fine with it. So therefore, for me, that is that, right? Yeah. And so let's see. It's official. Hadar moves to Delhi. Okay, Zanavar. With all due respect, X with no respect. Someone needs to show these people a middle finger. Aditya, sadly, they are in a position of power, so you can't just show them his finger, yeah, that's the thing. So we're going to play ISL from January. Everything's good. Otherwise, football is officially cremated in India. Angry Birds, there's no idea. No? Depends on the election, how fast it happens. If FIFA, AFC are fine with things, first of all, I think the MRA needs to extend it for an ISL to happen, right? So therefore, that's something. We need to start ISL before IPL, so it's a huge problem. Aditya, it's not a problem in regard to starting before the IPL. The days that the ISL finished before the IPL started, those days are gone because the league has grown, from 8 to 10, 11, 12, and then now 13 teams. So those days are gone. But if you start in January, you're not going to get over the ISL with a normal run league by the end of May, let's say, right? So therefore, decisions need to be taken in the next few weeks, and or alternative decisions need to be made. When a team is not best in Asia, why does Bundesliga come to India? Is it for development or capture market in India? Even if they capture, we don't have proper structure. Does Africa, Europe? Murali, the Bundesliga, the Premier League, La Liga, the clubs are coming, of course, so therefore, they're coming. Development, if it happens, yes, nice, but it is more about the market. What will we get if we cry on Indian football and defame it without any reason every day? There are some extraordinary things that are also happening which you ignore. Who's defaming Indian football? Satyam. Who's defaming Indian football? Me? Anyone here? We're talking about the facts, right? You were defending the other day someone who is defaming Indian football, who's destroying Indian football, right? And what are the extraordinary things happening in Indian football? Could you please tell them to me or to us? Because to me, extraordinary things only happen if I'm involved. I've not seen any other things extraordinary in football if I've not been involved in the last 10, 15 years or 20 years or 25 years, right? I can proudly say. These other people claim that they create extraordinary things. They create zero, they create nothing, they create zilch, right? That is the reality if you or other people like it or not. Extraordinary things. It's, just to saying that word is a disgrace in Indian football. Is that a Hoffenheim logo on your jersey? Yeah, that's a Hoffenheim logo, but it's not on my jersey. It's one of my working shirts, which I used to have when I did some work for Hoffenheim. Aaron, I hope you're doing well. I'm predicting a ban on AIFF very soon. Do you see it as well? It's a possibility. And I think by now, to be very honest with you, I feel might be the best thing. I feel and I believe I think that the normalization committee most probably is the best thing to do to clear out the people, to actually hand out bans, right? Extended bans also to people, maybe even lifetime bans by the ethic committees. That's the best thing that we need. An Indian analyst, forgot his name, joined J-League. Yeah, joined the J-League club, and he is with Kawasaki Frontale in the final of the AFC Champions League Elite. The problem is in AIFF, not footballing system. Yeah, there is some errors, of course, but saying that whole India football suck is just crooked. No, Satyam. You know, the system is part of the problem. And as long AIFF is just one part, right? The AIFF is a problem, yeah. The clubs are a problem, yeah. The academies are a problem, yeah. The coaches are the problem, yeah. Even the players, the fans. If people like you don't want to understand that we have a problem, then live in La La Land, live in Dreamland. We are so far away from achieving success. You were talking a few days back or weeks back, I don't remember. Oh, we need to get to the Asian Cup. Oh, we need to get to the World Cup. You know? So what are we talking about? Right? So we need to get to that understanding that we have a problem. The whole of Indian football is bad? No, it's not. But most of it is bad, right? That is the real problem. La Masia is just like Hogwarts, isn't it? Why, Obijit? Why should La Masia be like Hogwarts? I don't get that. The magical wingers are coming back. Oof, I'm excited. Yeah, let's see. If you haven't watched last night, FC Barcelona versus Inter Milan, especially the first half, watch the first 45 minutes. That is amongst the best that we most probably will see at this moment in world football. That Ranji is using his crooks to say a narrative that he is the savior, but will he get into efforts? He is voting there in executive committee. Renel, we can talk about a lot. Is he the savior? Of course not. Right? Of course not. And the second thing is, there is voting to get into the executive committee, and I don't see at the moment, again, him coming in. Have you ever visited La Masia? Is it different from other academies? Germany, Spanish. Yes, I've visited La Masia. Is it different? No, it's a football academy. What should be different out there? It's the quality of the coaching, which is, I think, the key. There are clubs in India which are giving such talent to us every day. Valpui and Ursh is one of them. They're 21, just over. We give them 6 years. They can be played role in national team much better. So, Tim, with everything you're saying, you're making it only worse. Are you telling me, or trying to explain to me that Valpuya and Ayush are the future of Indian football? Right? What are we trying to get to? Right? Just think about, if this is the best we can produce, you've just answered it to me. This is not anywhere close to Asian class, with all respect to these players or any of the other players, right? Currently, we're not producing quality, period. And that is on academies and clubs. But if a ban takes place, will it not affect our national team Asia Cup qualifier matches? Yeah, of course. We are out of the qualifiers. Heard that Mr. Bajaj requested for no relegation this season in I-League. Yes, he did. And there you see the hypocrisy. The person who is fighting that there should be relegation in the ISL says there should not be relegation in the I-League. And there we see the hypocrisy, right? Right? When he became team manager of the Indian futsal team, that is fine. That is not nepotism. So again, this is, that's the problem, So take an advantage. I did this, I did that, blah, blah, shout out. I mean, that's the problem which we have in India at this moment, right? We're not producing quality. We don't have that quality which we need to produce. And then, we need to move ahead, and that's where we're struggling at this moment, massively at the moment. East Bengal leaving the Robson signing deal. One has 2 targets, one Robson, another bigger profile player who hasn't played in ISL yet, can play both as central midfielder and central attacking midfielder. Zoraver, as I've said, let a player sign, let the club or the player announce, I've signed for XYZ, and then we'll see what happens. Yesterday, Kawasaki won against Al Nassr. Yes, Aman, we discussed it a little bit yesterday, So that's something. India is producing such talents every day, sir, more than anyone in Asia. We have more than 12 beach board class players. Okay. Satyam, I'm giving up with you. Yeah. John Duran is now officially trying to be the sole successor of Darwin Núñez. Huh? Yes, Ravar wants to know the talent, and yeah. There are 100 evil in Indian football. AIFF, only one person get all the fame and all hate here. It's like targeting. Satyam, no one is targeting anybody, but if you're still trying to defend someone, please, yeah, stop it. Yeah. Or go somewhere else where he's talking and be a fangirl. But this is getting to the level of the ridiculousness, because you're not willing to accept things. You're glorifying things. If you want to glorify things, go. But then Indian football, because of people like you, supporting it, oh, we are great, we are this, we are that. We are nothing. We are nowhere, right? If there is no acceptance, if there's no accountability, right, we're going to get nowhere. And you have not proven to me anything from what you've said. Oh, this is that. Listen, are there problems in the AIFF? Yeah. But these people, this gentleman you're defending, I tried to avoid a FIFA ban in 2022. It was me, nobody else. None of these big talkers. They walked us into a ban. And this man was the key person to do that, right? That is the problem, right? But hey, defend that person, right? By the way, what should Suhail do next in order to be at least an average striker in Asian level, according to you? Angry Birds, Asian level. Again, also, why bring up the word Asian level? Right? Let him become a regular in the ISL first. Right? Let him become a regular first. And for that, he has to play. Right? He scored 2 good goals. Great. So that's not going to happen. So how can we improve the coaching stuff? Like coaches trying to improve themselves or improving the coach education? The coach education is an exam in theory, right? The coaches need to be doing their work, right? Learning, becoming better, imparting the right things into the children and the players. Say you're comparing our youngsters with German youngsters. They are playing it 400 of years. Our league, our proper football system started 10 years ago. Talent is getting better. And see, Satyam, no, it's not. And I'm not comparing it with German. If I would compare it with German, I wouldn't even be talking about Indian football. I'm comparing with Indian football. Our footballing system didn't start 10 years ago. Factually wrong. Our footballing system has been, around for a longer time. The I-League or the NFL was started in 1996. So next year we will have 30 years, right, of a national structure. And the talent is getting better. Where? The talent is literally getting worse by the second. Early 2000s, our talent was better than it is today. So if you don't want to see it, I don't know. Is it Mohammad Zood squad leaving or get promoted? Abhijit, some will get promoted, some will stay in the reserve team. Hope someday Indian clubs can beat big clubs so that we can be happy. Yeah, man, that's the hope. Satyam, the youth games just last for max 22 to 30 match days, which is not enough at all. 20 to 30 would be good. I think most of the teams play around 15 to 20. Kuro is one of the players, scored 3 goals, 4 assists in Kerala versus. He's not a good talent approach if you don't trust them. Who we? Satyam, again, you want to defend, but you have nothing to defend there. Hi, Shaggy. Looking at the Supreme Court discussion, it looks like the main problem is relegation. Will we see an agreement with never still on this issue? If there is a delay, what happens? What options on the table? Shaggy, my biggest fear is that at some stage Reliance will say, you know what, we've tried a bit, nothing has happened, we walk away. And that's a real danger, right? This is a danger. Yeah. So that's the first problem. The ISL's problem is that if they have to wait, sorry, not the ISL, but FSDL's, not even FSDL as a body is rather Reliance, because Reliance seems to be leading the conversation. At the moment, looks like we don't have an ISL. And if we don't have an ISL, with all the problems that we had, and yeah, where are we going? Any members content planned? Not at the moment, to be very honest, except of course, yeah. But I said I wanted to create a WhatsApp group for members. So yeah, then, that might be something to do there. Angry Bird says to Satyam, we need to be consistent. We have seen literally around hundreds of one-season wonders which never made it to even being a permanent player of national team. Forget permanent player of national team, being a permanent player of the ISL. How many players have we had? How many wingers especially have we spoken about? So let's forget some mistakes someone done in past. No, Satyam, you might want to forget it because you are still defending that gentleman. He was celebrating that the Supreme Court came to that decision, what they did, right? So, you are willing to go on and on and on and on and on and on, so that's, that's the problem. Can you tell who the person due to which we got banned? Not could had, we did get. Mr. Ranjit Bajaj, very simple. India has a lot of youngsters. Satyam, yeah. So are they talented? I mean, as per your standards, they are, but your standards, great. I'm gradually coming to the conclusion that Super League idea by Perez wasn't that bad of an idea, and UFS opposition largely due to monetary reasons, versus isolism. Yeah. So Kuro, David, Irfan is not talented. They can't play against Maldives, so we're at least top best team in Asia. Again, you're mentioning Maldives and then top best team in Asia, and then those three names. Irfan can get to a certain level. Will he best in Asia? No. David, not a candidate. Kuru, for me, not candidate for the national team. So what talent are you talking about? What talent? Where? I don't see that talent. Show me that talent. Give me names. You're coming back with the same names. We've had that discussion. These are not top level talents. Hey, I'm doing good, but yeah, what to talk about? Don't see any soap opera in Indian football today. Yeah, that's actually, we can do a cross on that day and be very, very happy, And it was literally the worst villain one can imagine. Papa Perez versus Ranjit Bajaj could have been literally a legendary battle, but alas, on different continents, both love to go to courts. Yeah, very nice one, Angry Birds. In other countries, youngsters who are technically are replacing the seniors in India, the opposite happening. Yeah, Rava, that's a, that's a problem, that the older players are getting better, Hi, sir, what are your thoughts about introducing a proper youth league for clubs, just like UCL Youth League? Jack, are we talking about Asia or you're talking about India? Because in India, we have an under 17, under 15 and under 13 league. Getting about investments in ISL can be done, but AIFF is not doing anything, but one person doing so much for us. Targeted hitter. Satyam, He's not done one, he's done multiple mistakes. What are you talking? Sorry. I mean, I'm always very friendly to people, but you're talking rubbish. What has he done? One mistake? Listen, everything he does is a mistake. And don't blame it on the AIFF. There is no big investment coming into Indian football. Who's saying that? Anyone saying that? The last big investment was really when Reliance came around in 2010 and they started in 2014 their league. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? He has even celebrated. He has tried to fight Interkashi. He has tried to, the Anwar Ali case. He has gotten us a FIFA ban. It's not one thing. It is X. Do we want to talk about age fraud, about this violation, that violation, manipulating this, manipulating that? What? Don't, please. If you want to save that person, go somewhere else, have a discussion with people, but don't bother me. Seriously, this is, I try to be friendly people. I try and answer everything. But when I hear this rubbish of defending people who have harmed Indian football more, and it's not just one thing, we can talk about a list of things. Please, if you want to defend that person, go somewhere else. That person got us banned. That person is getting us banned again. Thank you very much. These are the kind of people who immediately need to be out of Indian football because they've done nothing for grassroots and for youth football. All of these players are overage. What are we talking about? Right? Good evening, sir. Hope all is well. Yeah, Ishan, you see, little angry, but again, Reliance is actively involved and they might seek 6 months extension and take some time to discuss the MRA. No, that is not what Marcus said. That is what you are interpreting. That's the nice thing, that Marcus didn't say that. Marcus is speculating and you are taking it as if, oh, Marcus seems to know. Marcus doesn't know the fact. Is Reliance really really actively involved in that? Right. You guys are falling for these people, You guys are willing to believe these people who have no clue about what is happening at this moment in time. I'm really, really loving this. It's really, really funny. You don't even know 1% of what's happening, and these people don't even know 1% of what's happening. Or now it's also not gonna lie, they should have introduced Youth Champions League or something like that. Why do they need to introduce a Youth Champions League? Why? Simple question, right? In Asia, to try and copy what is being done in Europe, where they're restructuring the senior level competitions, and you're not sure how the senior levels competitions are running. You're not going to come around and do something else. Again, you see something which is done by UEFA, and then if UEFA does it, oh, you know what, we need to copy. Oh, we need to do Nations League. Oh, we need to do Youth League. Listen, Asia is at a different level of our development of football. We are not Europe. Europe is developed and through, right? Yeah. Japan just showed how leaps and bounds they're ahead of everyone else. They're a crazy bunch of people, aren't they? Quality craftsmanship, just their pastime hobby. Yeah. Our talent can't even compete as foreigners in Nepal, Bangladesh league, says Ishan. Why are blaming the Supreme Court and the High Courts? It's the incompetency of the people in the system because of which courts are getting involved. No, it's not. Nadeem, no. Who asked the Supreme Court to get involved in the matters of the AIFF? It wasn't the AIFF. The AIFF was surely not running perfectly. But again, we're talking about a sports code, which is a violation in itself, right? And nobody asked the Supreme Court to get involved. Why did the Supreme Court appoint a COA? Why did the Supreme Court not reach out to FIFA and to AFC and say, guys, we're hearing that we should be coordinating about what is to be done, right? Look at how things have been handled in Spain and in Brazil when FIFA said, guys, it's not your jurisdiction, right? And still, 3 years later, we are in still the same mess because the Supreme Court of India thinks they understand matters of football governance, which they clearly just listen to half an hour of what we're listening to that. There are lawyers who are lying in the Supreme Court because the justices don't know anything about football and they are supposed to decide on those facts, right? The Delhi High Court is getting involved in matters which the AIFF should not even be entertaining, right? And I hope one day someone, if I had the money, I would do it. I would take the Supreme Court of India, I would take those two gentlemen to CAS and let's see what CAS does with them, right? Because They are harming Indian football. They're not helping Indian football. If they were helping Indian football, they would have reached out to people who understand governance, you know? So, yeah. Satyam is defending Bajaj because he played for Second, according to Bajaj, asked for very less fees to play in the second. So, Rava, that's the funny one, right? So, it's a pay-to-play model, isn't it? Yeah. So the problem is that you are comparing our youngsters with youngsters who can't compare it. I'm not comparing it with the youngsters over here. Satyam, I've known Indian football now for 27 years. I'm comparing it with the talent we had. Name me one player who's of a level, who's gotten to the level of a Sunil or a Baichungai Vijay. Forget that. Which player, winger, can get to a level of a Renali Singh, of a Clifford Miranda, of an Anthony Pereira, of a Stephen Dias, of a Alvito de Cunha? I'm not even mentioned Ishfaq Ahmed. None of these players. We need to talk, about those things, right? You are saying we've got talent. No, we don't have the talent. Listen, I say this. The last big talent that I saw was in 2015, a very, very young Lalinzwala Changte. Not even the 2017 World Cup squad, which I saw regularly here in Germany, who had no kid as talented as Changte. And a Puya, who was not even a starter in that team, So what are we talking about, right? I don't need to compare with if I compare with Germany, my amateur team players are better than the Indian pros at the moment. This is the reality, but you guys don't want to. Some of you don't want to hear the realities. I'm sorry to say that. People want to hear, oh, it is nice, it is hunky-dory, it is lovely. No, it's not. Indian football is a complete disaster. And the people who've brought us to this disaster need to be called out. They need to be chucked out of Indian football. Otherwise, Indian football will not develop. The Supreme Court of India is deciding on the future of the ISL. And I quoted that tweet yesterday from Mazhar. We're talking about 2,000 people who don't know if they have a job from the 1st of June onwards. Is that sensible work from the Supreme Court of India? I was talking about Asia like Asia Youth League. Jack, as I said, we are not at the stage as Europe is. There is a lot of trouble, a lot of other things. Look at like the Women's Champions League is just being developed. Asia, don't compare it to Europe. Do not compare it to Europe because Europe's football is much more developed. That is the problem. Even in North America, they have financial capabilities. And in Asia, travel and other things is a problem. Then AFC would have to subsidize things, right? And AFC is not in a position to subsidize everything. You must be told, we don't have, yeah. Did you read? No, Ochud, sorry, I've not had the chance to do it. I need to do that. Did you hear the news of one of our analysts working for Kawasaki who has been playing the AFC Champions League? Indeed, Slok Asher is his name, I think. Yeah, Ishan, those are the nice stories. Those are the small little stories that we need to look forward to in Indian football, that there are people who are working their A off and are getting to the next level without the help of the system. All of that these guys have achieved is despite of the system because of their own work. So that is something, these are the kind of people we need to think, and it's great to see. Such is too gullible. There are lots of such people out there, and that's really sad. Yeah. And that's why Indian football is what it is, because people still believe all of that. Mark is such a wise person. He showed his true colors defending church brothers on Twitter. Yeah. So what can FC do really? Can they talk and make a deal? Remember, the current AIFF the problem is the current AIFF doesn't have the jurisdiction to do the deal. If you read it, if you read what has happened now, it looks like, it sounds like that the AIFF is in no position to actually finalize even a temporary deal. Isn't it failure of Reliance that after being commercial partners for 15 years and still commercial value of Indian football has not grown? Yeah, of course. Nadeem, it's their fault, but it's not only their fault, it's the fault of the whole system, right? Because the quality has not gone up, right? The quality has gone down because we have not addressed the 5 key things, grassroots, youth development, coaching, competitions, scouting. If we don't sort out those things, that's the reality. Yeah. Who said the commercial value of ISA has not grown? Has it grown? Is there a valuation of a real valuation out there? Clubs are doing their best to produce players in U17 level, but AIFF is not giving that U17 level of training games in Europe. Then who's the culprit? AIFF for clubs? Satyam, the clubs are not producing the best. Listen, you're talking to the person who actually organized the first ever under-17 camp abroad here in Germany in 2002, right? And we've done it. Under-17 World Cup, I supported via the DFB, right? We've had other camps coming here. The last one that I saw was nearly 2 years ago, under Bibiano. That was the worst under-17 that I've seen. So the clubs are not producing quality. Satyam, we are producing really, really bad players at the moment, right? And we're selling them as superstars. That is our problem. And our players don't even know how good or how bad they are. Marcus is a news merchant, to be fair, not a journalist, doesn't have the guts to call spade a spade. Yeah. It's a problem in his position, yeah. What do you make of Avni Bhatsi's move to Bolivia top division club? Ishan, I've never seen him play. I don't know how good or how bad he is. That's why I can't have an opinion on him. It's great to see an Indian boy in there, but he's been jumping from A to B to C. So, that's always for me alarm signs. If Reliance is not interested, why they're involved in the Supreme Court case? I think, Nadeem, they have to safeguard their own name as Reliance Industries, right? And if you think about it, originally, I guess they were interested to extend the contract and look at the options of what to do. But the product that has become, so therefore that's the thing. Why are other people involved in this case who are harming the case than helping the case, right? What is Baichung brought to the case? What has Ranjit brought to the case? They've just brought chaos and lies. That is my biggest problem, right? Do you think I'm expecting too much from my club, which is 5 years old? I don't know what you're expecting, Aditya, so I can't say that. What's Reliance's intention behind ISA? It's not like ISA is going to be profitable anytime soon. If they're going to invest huge sum, why not invest some more and make sure they get the maximum output? Abhijit, that's what they did, and they tried in the first 3 years, spent a lot of money, especially in the first year. The marketing spend was insane, that you are, the marketing of it is not going the right way, right? It's because the product is not good enough on the field. Now, if you want to have a good product, that's the point. Guys can just come like you order the Savior Projects Party, yeah, Aditya. Japan do the same every year after J League. Best 15 player of J League gets such level standout training from Spanish club division, nothing else. Who says that? Who told you that? J League players don't need to go to Spain. They go if they want to go to Spain. They don't go as a group and then they're taking over. Who tells you these things? Where do you get your infos from? Right? They might go on an exposure trip. They're not going regularly to XYZ club. Get your sources right? Even Manisha Kalyan went to cast with disagreement with Brooklyn FC for a contract, yeah, right? And then she didn't go to the US. What are your thoughts about Kalyan Chobe? According to you, is he the main culprit behind all this mess happening in AIFF, or are there others too? Jack, Kalyan is one of the problem of this because he's gone into a position which is way over him, right? It is way over him. He's not capable of handling this, and therefore we are in the mess that we are in, and others like Shaji need to be blamed because he was involved at that time. Anil Kumar, Satya, all these guys were there. They have to take the blame, right? Could you please give 1 point of sports code that violates FIFA statutes? The sports code per se is a violation of FIFA statutes. That individuals being part of the executive committee, it is actually organizations normally. It is either the federations or the clubs. It is not players who are normally part of a national federation. And this is something I realized yesterday the Supreme Court has not understood, right? This whole reservation for players, right, which is a noble idea. But after Kalyan Chaube running the AIFF, I think it should be clear that if we want to sort out Indian football, we will need sports management people to run it. So therefore, the AIFF, in my opinion, needs to change its structure in such a way that yes, maybe the president or the executive committee are there, but I think the AIFF needs a CEO who is the leader, the visionary, where the president only steps in when it's needed, and you have a secretary who takes care of the administration. Only then. So that's the thing. Supreme Court investigation this lead FIFA banning Indian football? Yes, Stephen. It has, right? 3 years ago it did. And theoretically at the moment, yeah. The intention of Reliance, I think, is that they're seeing the bigger picture. That's why they're ready to invest more because they can. Aditya, nice that you understand the intentions of Reliance. Come on now, this real match of Indian football, not what happens in the field. Yeah, Abhijit. The problem is that off the field, we have more action than on the field, right? Even the players, the players also need to spend more time on the field. They are not long enough on the field, So that's part of the problem. Clifford Miranda wanted, Clifford wanted play was in Odisha. Yes, so that's at Mumbai City at the moment. Metafindi says, who take court seriously when they say that case hearing will be adjourned to next date simply because they find it too long to read, or I wish they stay out of matters they know nothing about. Yeah, but that's the problem. That's why I said that governance people, experts. And that should not be just in the case of football. Kash has gone to CAS, right? What's the status? Should Mohun Bagan also go to CAS regarding Anwari's case? Yes, CAS is at Inter-Kashi has gone to CAS. I think they're waiting now for the matter to be listed. And and supposedly the AIFF, Namdhari and Chhatrapati were asked by CAS for replies. Don't know if they've done it, and that's the problem. If we're so divided internal, who can we get big if you keep saying one person done wrong for Indian football that we keep going to divide nothing else? We need to be united. Satyam, stop the defending of that one gentleman. There are other people's at fault as well, Shaggy says, take a chill, bro. You're not aware of the whole COMS back in 2022. Here's people career on stake. There's no money in Indian football. AIFF is going to be whacked in CAS. Yeah. While fixing the Indian football, we mistakenly discovered our faulty supreme and overall court system. I see why people decide to leave this unholy nation. So that, People are delusional to say that it will take Supreme Court judge to cast and punish him. I'd big laugh. A sports court guy punishing a judge of a country of 140 million. First of all, it's a country of 1.4 billion. And you know what? The same people said to me, oh, you know what? The Supreme Court has decision. Supreme Court has put us here. No one can. We are India. No one will ban us. It shows me how little, in effect, people like you understand. You read a lot of things and you want to understand. Oh, this, that, right? I know what is happening. I've read this. Oh, this is sad. At the end of the day, you have no clue, right? And you want to be part of the conversation, right? You want to take part in the conversation, right? You don't know the power of a CAS, right? You don't understand or don't want to understand what it means, law of sports against law of the land, right? Then just see what has happened in other countries where we're not even talking about a democratic system, but in so-called dictatorships where CAS has intervened, right? Even in Iran understands and listens to a CAS, right? But hey, you guys seem to know it better. So you keep reminding one mistake. It's not one mistake, Satyam. Again, and this is, people like you will not understand. You don't want to understand. One mistake, no. How many mistakes do you want to talk about it? How many mistakes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15? Yeah? So what are we talking about? UEFA is more structured because it's huge money. No point comparing us with them. Yeah, metaphorically, very well said. That's the thing. That's the problem, right? Oh, UEFA has got Nations League. Why does the AFC do that? UEFA has a youth league. AFC should also do that. What are you comparing? They said the same thing in 2022, got banned by FIFA. Remember, the laws of sports will always be greater than the law of the land. Yeah, Aditya. And none of them believe it. And I said that. I got abused by those idiots, right? Illiterate idiots. And they're doing the same thing again. So it's not a one-off. Who do you think between Yamal and Rafinha has better chances of winning the Ballon d'Or? Yamal will win the Ballon d'Or one day. Winning it now might be too early. Maybe it's Rafinha ahead of him, but let's see what happens. Yeah. If you think is giving us such players, but you're ignorant about it, sir. Satyam, you're trying to tell me again and again, just watch the under 17s. I've seen the national team over here, right? We were close to qualifying for a World Cup twice in 2002 and 2018. We're not even qualifying for the Asian Cup now. What are you talking about? Right? You don't have any clue what you're talking about. Our talent base at the moment is so bad, so poor, which has never been the case that I've been watching the football for the last 27 years. And you're still defending the rubbish that we're producing. There needs to be a clear out. The clubs need to be taken to task. The academies need to be taken to task. The coaches, especially the coaches, what are you producing? But hey, we are producing great players. I am ignorant. Okay, then I stay ignorant. But I live in reality and not in La La Land. Should we more focus on youth development football infrastructure at the state level more than national level? Much less logistic cost at all. Abhijit, yes, but who's going to fund it? Right? Yeah. Right? At the end of the day, youth football and football infrastructure is something that nobody wants to pay for. Guten Abend, Simon. Good to see you back. Thanks. Yeah, let's see what Hoffenheim do. How long did they ban us? Our government got involved, immediately resolved. No, it didn't get immediately resolved. Nadeem, do you understand that India got banned on the 15th of August 2022? Luckily, we had in October an under-17 Women's World Cup coming up. That's the only reason the government got involved. If FIFA bans us tomorrow, do you think the government of India will get involved and give a damn about it with other issues that are there at the moment? But what did the government do? The government told the Supreme Court, back off, right? So what does it say about India, right? With equal powers of government, equal branches of government. Everyone is so malfunctioning. Don't spend on U17 teams and don't spend penny on budget to them how we can grow. But that ban is the failure of us, not AIFF. Nice, chill. It is not about AIFF spending on the U17s. If we have better talent, someone or the other might look at them. The AIFF and the youth national teams are only as good, But people don't want to understand that the work is done in the clubs and the academies. The AIFF just gives the framework. That the AIFF is a mess, we don't need to talk about it. I think anyone who understands will understand. But you are not understanding is that the talent needs to be created to be better. We are having players coming through into the ISL who 10, 20 years ago would not have played in the third, fourth tier of Indian football. I think we should only focus on uniting. No, that's also only focus on this, only focus. No, you can't. You have to focus across the pyramid. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to build. You have to build, I absolutely agree. The silver lining and cloud are these small success stories. Are people, analysts, referees, coaches, etc., going broad mainstream as bank on these little. Yeah, methamphetamine, exactly. We've got very few, but there's, So we are far ahead in time, but struggling to produce 11 quality players for national team. I think about how Sir Rahim made our India such a legendary team back in those days by winning cups. Check. I'm also going to break a myth about Rahim Saab and all that success in the 50s and 60s, right? So the world in the 50s started to look at the World Cup, right? 1950, okay, 1954, the legendary Hungary team, which had not lost in years, beaten in that legendary final in Bern by Germany, West Germany 3-2. The World Cup became the most important thing. What did we do? We focused on Olympics. 60s, the AFC started the Asian Cup. What was our focus? Asian Games. So we have missed the bus in those years where our team was much, much better. Was it world class? I don't know, right? Because finishing fourth in the Olympics is a great, great achievement for India. But were the other teams really playing with their best players because it was during the season? No, they weren't, right? So these is, so that's the reality. Shaggy answers, Satyam, I want to avoid the same again. You have no idea what it means, but you will one day understand because you all watch the saga. Yeah. Renner says Ranji's going to pay for what he's done. He's literally destroying the livelihood of 2K people. Some things are bigger than football. And what about the people's family and life? He's going to pay for it. Let's see what happens, Renner. I don't know. We were on our way to host FIFA Youth World Cup or something like that, and it was snatched away from our hands. We had to beg FIFA, and it was very difficult. Yeah, exactly. Satyam says, Shairu, we were so divided, bro. If we throw someone out of India football, how can we grow? We need to be united as a group. Oh, God. So you want to keep the corrupt, the people who are harming Indian football, you're fine with it. Right, Satyam? Yeah. You can't be helped. If India needs to host the 2000 World Cup, they're going to do what sport says. Yeah. If we would, yeah. Good evening, Gear on Rare. What's your opinion, Nikolai Adam? Where is he now? Nadeem, Nikolai was for that squad the perfect coach. Of course, while the DFB was involved in getting him in, and good coach, clear-cut ideas. His team had a style of football, and he's now with Eintracht Frankfurt, head of their international coaching programs that Eintracht have. He spends a lot of time in China, the US. Actually speak to him once in a while. Good guy, great coach. Yeah. Reliance is interested to extend, I think, but they want to know with which people they have to negotiate. Naveen, Reliance has put an offer on the table, right, which is very, very clear that they say that the structure of the ISL needs to change to something of a European league system, but they don't want to give the AIFF any money. That's also very, very, they've been very, very clear about that, right? So therefore, it's a mixed bag, so to say, a difficult one. And yeah, that's the reality. Why don't force Adani Sports in coming in ISL in the football? We can request them, beg them for investments in us. We have to beg them, and money can solve such a problem. Satyam, I don't know in what world you could go. Adani is not interested, and Reliance has had conversations with them. And how do you force? How can you force someone to come in? I don't know how you will force someone. If they're not interested, they will not come in, right? So I don't know. Is Baichung also like Mr. Bajaj? No, Baichung is different, but Baichung is also talking about certain things where I think way over his head. Sorry, Bhutia, right? That's my problem with these realities. How can you force someone to invest in anything? Satyam Bhai, come on, yeah, Aditya, sim. From what I've seen, Avneet seems to be change clubs very too often showing slackeners or maybe lack of ability in different environments. Good that he's at least trying. That's the problem. I've never seen him play, so therefore I can't judge him. Waiting for Reliance to have Mumbai Indians franchise football team and have the best academy coaches and produce world-class players instead of running ISF, there comes the duty of Indian football. Nadeem, they're not going to do a football team under the MI brand. If they will either run the ISL or they pull out, but they've at least created through the Reliance Foundation certain grassroots programs. They've created a Reliance Foundation team, but again, the problem is also some of their best coaches in the last few years have always left, right? So that's the reality. So I don't know. That's not going to happen. And the world-class player thing is very, very easily said and done. But again, I've never seen a world-class talent in India. Is he there? Maybe he's somewhere, but I've never seen someone. I feel Indian football fans feel that there is a host of sponsors waiting like Reliance need to clear this delusion. Yeah, Shaggy, there is no one. You know, this is the problem. That people think that, oh, this is there, that is there. There are other people. No, nobody is there like Reliance to come forward and get involved. That's the reality at this moment in time. There is nobody, right? There's no marketing agency somewhere which is waiting to put money in there, right? And yeah, that's the reality. I received some threat calls today from Mumbai as well as Punjab for speaking through. Oops, not good. And win the Challenge League. Okay, yeah, but JDT, it sounds so easy, right? There are so internal divisions in India. You should unite us, but we're going on some other path. We should all unite against Kalyan Chaudhary is the culprit, not others. Satyam, Kalyan, yeah, is a problem. But current job is not the biggest problem, right? And I see, Satyam, you or nobody else is going to tell me what I need to do, what I not need to do. I know uh, what I've done for Indian football, right? I've done more than your Kalyan Chaubes or your Ranjit Bajajes or your Shaji Prabhakarans or even a Proful. The little me, with my small little things, whatever I've done over the years. So I know what my contribution is, you know? And if I'm uniting, yeah, but I unite on the fact of truth. And I will call out the biggest culprit, who is the biggest culprit, right? And you're not going to tell me that we unite against this person or that person. No, I know who the biggest culprit is. So goodness, the words came from Boston. Okay. The saddest part about all this mess is that the culprits are not going to get punishments. It's not a crime by laws, at least not until there's a corruption surfacing, and we all will keep suffering. Yeah, that's a real thing. Culprit is Kalyan, culprit is someone. Satyam, there's no point. You don't want to understand. You're still defending the gentleman. The gentleman is a bigger problem than Kalyan Chaubey with his actions, and therefore you're not going to understand. There are eminent players in Exco now also, but it's a violation and FIFA should ban us now. No, Nadeem, FIFA allowed this interim body, and supposedly within 3 months we're supposed to have elections. And that didn't happen, right? So it also shows how much FIFA cares about us these days. Mr. Blatter cared a lot about us. Gianni Infantino cared a lot about us. I mean, think about Gianni Infantino last year came to the Reliance wedding, and I know from a friend that he said, I don't want to talk about football. I don't want to talk about Indian football. FIFA to some extent has given up. Yeah. So that's the reality. But who's gonna tell that? Because yeah, all know so much. You need a multi-investment asset. They can't go big. It's right. If Reliance said they will not give money more to AIFF, we need more money makers here. Satyam, there is nobody. I mean, don't you want to understand? I mean, I don't think you think, Al Nassr lost yesterday, one of my best moments, Asian football. Kawasaki was playing with two foreigners only. Yeah, 1.5, right? As I'm showing David's to Saudi football. Yeah, Simon. Hi, Rushabh, welcome back. Before Kalyan Chaubey was appointed, I was opinion expert should be the head of AIFF. How wrong I was. Stephen, if I like it or not, if I look at the structure of India, you know, and yeah, if anyone thinks that Baichung is going to do better than what is happening at this moment in time, then we have a problem. That was a huge problem, in my opinion. As much as I like Bhutia as a person, but this to me is not a role that I would suggest to Baichung to try and push, because that is not that's not the right thing for me. I think if clubs start to develop with elite coaches who are foreigners, they're going to conquer ISL. I think just some have done it, but they've not conquered, right? Some of the academies have had foreigners. Even Brazil and top clubs like Barca haven't been spared. We're not even children in front of them. Yeah, Ishan, that's the point. Barca, Real Madrid, Chelsea, all of them have gotten bans, So, Simon, I am fed up of people trying to explain things without knowing the facts. And as I say, some of the things, so therefore, yeah. I never support football and sports case should go in Supreme Court. It should be there in cash only. And who will take Supreme Court series and comments on football? Okay. Any update on national team camp? No. As far as I know, Rushabh, players will get a certain time of holiday, and they will then regroup. Yeah, second or third week of May, and then prepare for the Thailand friendly and then the Hong Kong qualifier. Why do people not come here after researching thoroughly and keep blabbering? Sorry for this word, but that's what it is. If people do as much as this, more people will disappear from limelight. Methamphetamine, I love the discussions. I'm fine with it, but I is it is. I always say that you need to be able to know things, right? And yeah. A sports law, different field altogether. Is an independent viable professional. It's not it's a different field. It's not a own profession. It's a division in law, right? You've got civil, criminal, whatever, different laws. So therefore, you have to be specialized to be able to work in that. And for example, not a normal lawyer can't go to CAS. Now I understand this topic of sports above law of land in Germany World 2000, FIFA World Cup 2006, not 26. Sad India does not FIFA World Cup and AFC Asian Cup didn't match this, but yeah, exactly. It's not just the law of sports. It's FIFA is the boss, right? I mean, UEFA was the boss during the Euros last year in Germany, right? The German government had to allow certain rules and regulations for UEFA to function in the country while the tournament was ongoing, which in a normal case Germany would never allow. But you've been part of India for so long now. India football has changed a lot. It needs one improvement, but improve a lot from part. No, we haven't improved. Satyam, that's what I'm trying to say. I've been part of it, yes. And I don't take myself out of the blame. Right? I could have done certain things different. I think in 2022 I should have just stood up and actually abused those guys. So, and told them even more clearly on their face, guys, you're walking us into a FIFA ban. But I'm very clear that what I know. And again, we can have an argument, we can have a discussion. But if I know something, I will fight for it. But and the reality is, in the last 15 years, off the field, a lot of development has happened. On the field, we've gone backwards, massively backwards. Right? The rest has developed around us. We haven't. And as long as we don't want to understand that, believe in that, we're not going to move forward. So Indian fans don't want to admit we have gone backwards after Stephen left. Yeah, massively. And this initial success of Igor Stimac most probably is the success of Stephen Constantine. And that's reality. People say we should invest in this and that as if money grows on trees and believe they know the key to success nobody else knows. And that's the problem. If money was there, and money is one thing. Money is one thing. But what money cannot buy us is knowledge, understanding, how to run things. That is where we are struggling, in my opinion, the most. Right? For me, that's the biggest struggle at this moment in time. That we are unable to grow. Why? Because they're not the right people in the right positions. Without knowledge, So that's the point. The problem with our youth system is everything created their own lobby to earn money, and no one wants to put the effort in holy moment because they know improvement is not easy task. Again, rare. Yes. And I also know someone high up once told me, he said, if I allow you, he said to me, if I allow someone like you to come in and professionalize the game, what is our role? People don't want to change. These people, they want to keep the I-League. They don't want the ISL. Because the ISL has pushed certain people down the ladder who have run the system and not really made something. You are asking for uniting with the person who is among the factors which is leading to Indian football downfall. Yeah, Very well said. If we don't focus at the bottom of the pyramid, how will we find good footballers? Certainly at the higher level, grassroots is the most important thing as per my understanding. Very well said, Monak. Welcome. You're very, very right. You know, and that's the point, right? And especially why I say also, for example, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan Mohammedan, all the success they've supposedly had, what have they done for Indian football in regard to talent development? Little to nothing. And they should be at the fore. Why doesn't Mohun Bagan or East Bengal Mohammedan have something like a La Masia, right? Simple question. Also, adding to the investment point, people forget most investments are about getting returns. They would see no return investing in football, and investment will continue in the run. Yes, first of all, that. And youth development, grassroots, that's an investment. That's money which you're not getting back. And even the big clubs, what Barcelona spends on its academy, okay, you'll say, oh, you know what, they sold the player, this, that, not that. But the physical investment into the academy is a lot. Also want to see a player play like young Neymar, get discovered in here, but with a different approach here. But that is happening slowly. I can see that Shivashakti and Nico is coming. Seriously, what? The names you're mentioning, right? You're mentioning Neymar and then mentioning players. Oh God. And Zoravar is not brainwashed. Zoravar was on the point. Zoravar was on the point. You are defending a person who's leading us into another man and is destroying the Indian structure. Why didn't India take part in the Brazil World Cup? Was it due to lack of money and equipment, which is often stated in the media, or was it ego? No, Zoravar, it was, I don't know if it was ego, but there are 2 or 3 different versions. One was the money version, of course, but which is not a fact, because FIFA stated, listen, we were willing to fly India with KLM in those days, multiple stops via Amsterdam to Brazil. So that's not a reason. The AIFF said, you know what, we focus on, suppose there's another story which says the AIFF said, oh, you know what, we only play Olympics, we don't care about the World Cup. And there's a third version which is the barefoot version, which says, you know what, we play barefoot, we don't wear boots, because Adi Dassler, the founder of Adidas, started making boots or football, whatever it was, football boots, but you wouldn't call them proper boots in those days, or in today's world. And then, of course, in 1954, the big thing was, of course, that he created studs. So therefore, those are the things that go around, and one of these stories, most probably, maybe all of them together, is the reality. We create wonder kids for one season only. Yeah, but one season wonders. Yeah, very right, Kiran. There. I think one of the success of us as referees with all the bad decisions, I see some improvement both in calls and confidence. Abhijit, very good point. No, Praful Patel, Kalyan, and Shahji and Bhutia don't get that much hate. They've also been part of the AIFF too, done some wonders. Then what time? But United won't say no to everyone, not selective. Satyam, it's no point arguing. Praful Patel has gotten his time of hate. Kalyan is getting it. Shahji has gotten it. Even Baichung has gotten it. But you're defending a man who's actually done more damage than all those 4 gentlemen combined, right? So, and you're not understanding it. So therefore, seriously, you're not getting there. It's also a huge problem with us Indians that we find ourselves entitled to give opinions despite being misinformed, uninformed. Instead, they should be asking questions from you and increase knowledge. Thanks, Madam. To mean, yeah, I misinformed and uninformed, So yeah, that's very well said. In simple words, corporates want to invest in football, but the problem is that they know what is AIFF. No, and that's another myth. There is no, there are no corporates waiting to invest. I mean, I've had corporate conversations, or people who are corporates X number of times, here, there, everywhere, and there is nobody waiting for Indian football to come in and grow the game or something. No, that's it. I would like it. We would like it, but that is not where we are at this time. Right, 1 hour, 15 minutes already in this talk on the 1st of May, which of course here in Germany is a holiday. 16 likes so far. Thank you very much. Do like it if you like the conversation. Share it with others as well, to potentially also join the conversation, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to come back for regular content, I did something in regard to the Supreme Court yesterday about AIFF capable leadership. I think that's something, Satyam, I think that's the video that you should watch and understand what I mean on that. And yeah, keep on supporting the channel, and thank you very much for that. Arthur Papas, former coach of Dempo Sports Club, Palan Arrows in India, and is now coaching Cerezo Osaka in JD. Wow, that's good. I haven't heard Arthur. Wow. Haven't heard from Arthur. Yeah, nearly 10 years. Best defender of I-League, Daniel Gonsalves of Lajang FC, who conceded 45 goals, second highest in the league. No Takashi player got awards. Nicholas Stojanovic was one of the best in the league, at least deserved best midfielder. Yeah, but that also shows, we have to force investors to get big investments in ISL and I-League. Even Asian nations get such a big investments from their rich class. So how are you going to tell me how you're going to force someone to put in money? How are you going to go to Gautam Adani and say, Mr. Adani, or you say, oh, Gautam, invest in Indian football. You now need to invest 1,000 crores into Indian football. How? Why? Hope Anand Mahindra return and help Indian football. Nadeem, he left, in 2010 by saying, oh, you know what? I've been spending money on football, but I don't get a return on investment, right? What I said at the time, I've actually told him, and I've also tweeted about it at the time, that didn't you start businesses in certain countries in West Asia because you had Mahindra United go over there and play matches? So isn't every money pointing in? So that's the thing. Can you educate me on how to force big investors into investing in football? It's inflated unstable. Yeah, good question. People don't understand that if Reliance back out, there is no one which will invest in this broken system. But now they are happy that they won just because MRA not extended. Yeah, Naveen, very well said. What happened to Bangalore FC youth teams? They were winning everything from U7 to national level. They said they couldn't win in state level leagues itself. Ajay, very simply, not every generation will be good. And there are other teams as well. So, actually nobody in India is interested in football. Corporates can waste thousands of crores buying electoral bonds, but can't invest it's 10% in football. Culprit is AIFF too. Of course, AIFF is a culprit in this. Who says they're not? Is there anyone in AIFF who can speak with potential sponsors, give details on the projects, the footfall of Indian football, the growth prospects? Is that zero? If that's zero, how can they sell the product? Nadeem, yeah. And didn't the AIFF say, listen, we will market ourselves after Reliance said, try and market your products. And again, Reliance tried. Reliance got in people. Reliance, for example, got Hero in for 9 years, 50 crores a year. So that was covering the AIFF. All right, but they didn't achieve anything per se, right? So to sell at the moment the product, very difficult. We have to force big investors. I know we don't have that quality, but for the young talent for one car, if to do the big, then I don't know, Satyam, how you would do that. You're saying it again and again and again, it makes it worse. Yeah. And that's not going to happen. Even if Kalinga himself tomorrow goes to Adani, say, we've got this huge plan, we want to come. And he say, no. Straight away, say, no, I don't. And he most probably won't even come to the meeting. So that's done. I don't know how fans do back corporate people, corrupt people in Indian football for this Indian football. People are now done a lot. Otherwise, he's in Germany. He can do whatever he wants. Why should he care? Yeah, Gander, you mentioned a very good point. I know a lot of fellow, I would call them warriors, with whom I've tried to build Indian football over the years, right? And but we were not there where we need to be, right? And so therefore, a lot of people we've lost in the last 25 years. Genuine people who wanted to do stuff in Indian football. I still try and do my things, but I've said, I will not be like in 2022. I myself spent my own money, went down twice to try and convince people. It didn't work. So now I'll be, I've wasted a lot of time, money, and effort on Indian football. Whenever I can, I will. But, so that's it. AIFF president should stay in IOA only. This dual president thing is embarrassing, not a real administrator, and has led to a vacuum. But leadership should have finalized the deal with Reliance by now. Yeah, I'm Shaggy, but he's not here, he's not there, right? He's none of both. So that's the real problem, right? So therefore, for me, that's the challenge that we have with Kalyan. Kalyan is not an administrator to me. He's an administrator in the IOA. So think what the situation in the IOA is. If there would be sponsors on the level of Reliance waiting, it would have been surely been reported by media outlets and the situation would be different. Roshan, if there was even one corporate of the size of a Reliance, I think Reliance would say, thank you very much for leaving. I get what you're trying to say, but that's not possible unless they find the product feasible and profitable, which isn't the case at the moment. Forget product feasible, profitable. People are not interested in the product. People are going to smaller competitions and leagues in India, losing money there, but they're doing it. There are big corporates who I've spoken myself to, I know people, and they've said, no, we don't want to invest. Replacing Federation Cup with Super Cup is a good decision. Why simply continue Federation Cup as knockout of a cup? Sham, a few years back, the idea was to create a Super Cup, to rebrand and try to create something new. I think it hasn't worked, to be very honest. And so therefore, those are the attitudes. Even Chennai Super Kings are banned for 2 years in India, for mismanagement. Simon Riley, this is the thing which is going on in Indonesia, most ASEAN and Thailand, Laos, Vietnam. They also are not going great, but the big investors keep investing. They will be the same. Satyam, who says they're not doing great? And who says to you they didn't? The systems are different. The countries are different. Their rich people are also investing into clubs in Europe and other things. Ours aren't. So there is no one waiting that we can approach and say, oh, you can be our savior with your money. FIFA had to go by law of land in Qatar, no alcohol in stadiums, but was a FIFA sponsored restrictions. There was alcohol. Who says there was no alcohol? Do you know that I went first in 2011 for the AFC Asian Cup when India played? There were 4 bars, pubs, or whatever you want to call them, which had alcohol in 2011. 4 of them, right? And Qatar allowed, and so I don't know. Chetri is part of racism. We can't get Chetri in Premier League and corporate also. Though I don't want us to get big. They want our football to. Satyam, I don't know where. Change your sources of information. Yes, but the federations are doing the hard right hard part, right? That is bringing the much needed investments. But do we have competent people running our Fed? No, right? First of all, that, and there is, wow, such amazing that everyone is so united here for that budget. 22 ban, but not from gas got up to 300 crore. Satyam, you are on a, as I said, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. You know? Yeah. Shaji Pura can save himself from it just because Kalinga Super Cup, otherwise he's done the same damage. He only improved Delhi football at his time. He didn't improve Delhi football at his time. They've even changed the name back, right? Do they have right federation? Holy moly, nice joke. The federation can't even have footballers in the federation. So the footballers are the right thing to have in a federation. Is a must, right? No. Look at the PSSI in Indonesia as a federation. They're doing a lot of things right. They're developing grassroots youth football. They're under 17 qualified for a World Cup, but they're also going on the other side. So I don't know what your information, your facts. Sorry, with once again, all your facts are wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't know where you get your information from. You should change your sources. Seriously, you know. Good night, my friend. Aman says, "As is dead investment. I think so. No profits. Yeah, it's forget profits. We're not even getting to break even. So you're saying Thai, Indonesia, Vietnam are at par with the AIFF. Corruption is everywhere. The thing where there's result simple. Yeah. Only a prime Fawzan to invest in football. Even he can't because he's not interested, Monarch. So Thailand, Vietnam is doing good. Nice joke. Okay, man, their biggest man earns massive voter checks only, and they also have more corruption than us. But you're putting them as icons first. So I think we don't know, right? So you know, and we don't know. That is my learning from today, right? You know, you can't force anyone to invest in any sport for getting in football. Yeah, now at 68 crore, 80 crore, largest debt investment can't go down. Yeah. It's not the land above law. FIFA fight happens everywhere. Yeah. No, it doesn't happen as a fight because other countries have accepted it. Look at Brazil. Right? Look at Spain. So that's accepted. And now, the example you mentioned shows that people who invest in football might not understand that investment in football are different than regular business methods. Yeah, exactly. The AIFF can't get sponsors of their league if they try. As of now, they won't get any sponsor or broadcaster. That's the reality. The AIFF took back the rights from Reliance to try and market it itself. What did it do? Right? They told us that Shachi is giving them 25 crores. In the end, it was 2.5. And even the 2.5, have they been paid? That would be my question. Kerala see a Skoka match in 2024 got 86K crowd. Even J League final gets and the crowd is not dead investment. 86,000. Where? There is no stadium in India which holds 86,000. Your facts are wrong. And the 46,000 that they get, do you understand that one person going into a stadium is not a commercial thing? I explained it a few days ago. Watch older videos. Satya, watch all the videos that I've made actually. Just watch it. I think you can learn a lot. An Indian football fan is a zero value because he's commercially not viable for the club, for the entity, for the franchise. So those 46,000 Japanese are worth probably more than 4 million Indian football fans because they spend on their clubs, So that's the problem. Is a charitable organization? If it's not, does it make any difference? Just want to know if not. BCCI is not charitable. Who says that? No, no one is interested for broadcasting. You're saying to invest. Someone, yeah. Even if we need to grow, you have to force like China. Almost all banks invest in the league. We have so much until but now force them. Satyam, where do you get your infos from? No one forced anyone in China to invest anything. Who says to you? Where do you get your information? You know. So you don't under you live. I don't know which world you live in. A full stadium is not something which is going to sell for me, right? But hey, do you think in I-League this season a poor versus rich, future versus legacy fight happened and some issues got stuck and the important king chooses partners for future war of election? Well said, Abhijit. For example, GMO is investing in Rugby Sevens League. Other corporates want to invest in other small sports leagues. Remember, Baseline Ventures investing prime ball. Yeah, I mean, very, very right. And they're doing that. Satyam is not a fool. And 80,000 is not a, they're not 80,000 stadium. You know? So, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Alcohol was only there in Budweiser counter in FAM Festival. I was there for 10 days and people were saying this is very different World Cup with no alcohol. Nadeem, there was alcohol available even in stadiums. If you knew where to, that was possible. And was it different? Of course, because you adjusted to the country. Would you, for example, we in Germany had an issue with the Budweiser, right? In 2006, huge discussion because Budweiser had the Anheuser-Busch had the rights. And then in the last minute, they changed the rules that yes, every venue would have a local beer in there. And that shows you the flexibility from FIFA. So what are you saying? Of course, the law of, if FIFA wanted to force its way through and say, we need to have alcohol over here. And the Qataris said, no, the World Cup wouldn't have happened, right? And the same conversations are happening with the Saudis at the moment. Now then, India youths are getting themselves educated through WhatsApp University, all kinds of courses available here, ranging from politics. Oh, like lovely, yeah. So I think you should keep Indian football and European standard in different. Listen, Satyam, you don't need to tell me what I need to keep here. I listen, Indian football and European football, I will never compare. So you are telling me what I am thinking. That's very nice. And India is not struggling. Who's telling you that? You don't know anything. You are telling me, oh, you know what? We need to bring in big. Of course, we all know we need to bring in big investments. But none of these people want to invest in Indian football. I have spoken to people who have that money, who are saying very, very clearly, we don't want to invest. Period. Right? And 80,000, there were never 80,000 people in an ISL match in the last 2 years. So you seem to know, but you have no clue what you're talking about. And why should I say something good about it? I'm not ignoring improvement. Tell me the improvements. Tell me one improvement. We spoke a little, like Abhijit said, referees. That is the reality. We have to focus on the problems to improve. We don't do that. We don't have accountability in Indian football. And you defend people who have harmed Indian football more than the other people mentioned. So what I'm going to talk about, it makes no sense. And yeah, so I'm giving up. Yeah. I'm not gonna. Satyam, I'm done. No more answering questions. Yeah, you guys have understood it. Let's see. It's no point. Let's get back to. That's what I said. FIFA is also not holy sometimes. But Nadeem, but what does it mean? We're talking about a World Cup. You're comparing our general rules with the World Cup. This is also, what are we comparing? I seriously, some of you guys seem to know, all of it, right? Again, so what are we going to talk about? And I don't. So that's the problem. So Tim, thanks a lot for banning the foot. Had enough of this. So that's the thing. That FIFA is not holy. No, I'm not saying FIFA. Who's saying FIFA is holy? But FIFA has certain rules. Is FIFA perfect? Of course, FIFA is not perfect. Is the AFC perfect? No, it's not perfect. But they have had certain rules, and they've worked in certain ways, and the world accepts it, right? So let's see. Even though we have to make women wear different clothes, so yeah, there are certain things that you look at, right? I mean, if we've even had it with some. I remember in ISL one, I had a conversation with certain women around us, Europeans who were around, and said, a little bit of more covering up, even though it's Goa, we were on a away match, would be better, you know. India U23 in pot 3, drawn 29th May. Thanks, Saurabh. BCI granted tax exemption on the country of a charitable organization status, later revoked, and its earnings are now classified business. So it's the Hindu. Yeah, but isn't that the normally sporting federations come under the Societies Act in India, right? When will national camp start before Thailand game? Any update? Again, it will start in the second or third week of May. I think Manolo will make an announcement as early as Sunday in regard to the squad, maybe Monday, so that the players, I think and yeah, that's what it is. Simon, I've banned him. So I've had enough of trying to. Let's get back to more journalism. Can we mitigate physical limitations of Indian football? Zoravar, is Lionel Messi a big player? Is Yamin Amal a big player? Is this or that? It is for me, if you're technically good. I saw a player today. He's as short as I am, or maybe even shorter than me. Skinny guy. But he was so good that I really enjoyed watching that kid play. And 19, I think now 20. And that's something which is a reality. So yeah. Law of sports, which is cast, is very different from law of land. People are not understanding in there. I see can't disrespect the decisions. Yeah. And I mean, we are in this situation where people think they know, what is this, what is that, what are the rules, what are the ways, and in India, my biggest problem is governance. The sports code is a nice idea, and yeah, it is, to me, what to say. And I think it was important also, for example, that Inter Kashi went to CAS. We've had a lot of conversations about CAS, this, that, everything, that they've gone, which I think Mohun Bagan missed the bus. They could have gone last year after, the PSC reversed its decision. Yeah, and they haven't gone since then, right? I know that there's a huge Twitter discussion on that, but the people don't seem to understand that, so that's the reality. Will the match versus Thailand happen with all thing going on with the Supreme Court? So Robert, at the moment, yes. I would think that except if FIFA bans us in the coming weeks, we will play our matches in June against Thailand and against Hong Kong. I don't see us being banned in the next 4. So I should say, I hope we're not going to get banned in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Hoping Manolo pick right squad and night to like players this time, gambling things for no reason become fashion for a while in national team selection. Yeah, very, 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 very valid point. Let's see. And first one, goalkeepers. Good night, Shaggy. Thanks for being there. Whenever I watch Japan play, it looks like the game is slow for them. They're a joy to watch. I wonder why they don't play semi-finals or finals of World Cup or Asian Cup every edition. Because there are other teams, right? I think that's the first thing. So, yeah. And getting into semi-finals and finals is a task. Sergio Busquets was the best DM in modern era, but he was not physically big and strong, but he was technically elite. I don't think he was the best. I would rate Rodri above him. You know, you know. So that's the thing, right? Your opinion regarding this, what should be picked versus Thailand players getting debut, in your opinion? Oh, not really thought about it. So who has? I mean, Bryson will be back. So my understanding is Fed Cup was scrapped as that the history of it not spoken in tournament. If Fed Cup was there, articles and this would happen on glorious Mohnbagan East Bengal victories. Now we talk about Bangalore FC, FC Goa, Odisha FC wins. Only no history to it. When Kerala, Kerala was with the history of Kerala police. Seemed they wanted to raise the history. Okay. Nadeem, no. It was, and I know for a fact, and again, whatever other people says, that they're looking at the marketing of it. And the Federation Cup had no commercial value. And they started to create something new. Was it right? Was it wrong? We can discuss, but that was the reason. Thank you for all you've done for Inform, what you continue to do for us through these lives and days. Ishan, I try and do it, and I love to have a conversation, a discussion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Again, some people, I guess, we've lost to the world of fake news. Yeah. Are you watching Europa Semis today? Yeah, I will be watching later on. I've seen David Silva, Samin Nasri from very short distance. They were very short in height, but how they were so good with the ball. Height is not a bar. Exactly, Monak. I think physicality is a nice thing to speak about. Yeah. According to Ismail fan pages, P. Vishnu will get national team call up. Let's see. Sorry to say, but no other club is professional. People like Intercash business club management degree. I saw somewhere he's most professional guy I've seen in my Indian football journey. Oh, okay. I mean, Interkashi has good people, but other clubs as well. I think they should try. So no, so just two matches, and again, you rate Ballon d'Or highly. I don't understand what are the methods they use to figure out the winner. It's more like fan awards or something. It's not fan awards. It's more of captains and national coaches awards. What I feel is Japan is well equipped to play top teams of the world without bus parking, while in Asian Cup teams like Qatar, where longer camps get one to hours, players just join. Okay. Tomorrow, the final round of the second league will start. Yes. And all new clubs in front of good managing people because they're not hanging on legacy and all of them. Yeah. Yeah, from European clubs. Yeah, I've got that. And sort of says Sohail Bhatt. No. So your thoughts on Abhishek Suryavanshi? In my point of view, must get called for national camp at least. No. How do... Just playing good in the Super Cup, playing minimal in the... Before I would call Abhishek Suryavanshi, I would call Vibin Mohanan. Certain techniques of vision is good, but physicality, vision, there things are lacking definitely. Yeah, but the vision part is, I think, the biggest problem with PV Vishnu, right? That's I don't know if you can sort that out, but that's his biggest problem, and yeah, that's a big one. Japan is rumored for how to develop football. Just 2 decades back, they were on par with India. No, who says 2 decades back they were par on India? 2 decades back, Japan was winning 7-0 against India. How can they be on par with India, Zorawat? Japan has been ahead of us since the 70s, right? They started late 70s. The first players came to Europe. I mean, FC Remscheid as a second division team had a Japanese player in the 80s, right? So Japan and us, we've been apart, and the gap has been widening rather than getting smaller. That's, I think, our biggest disadvantage. Right, 1 hour 45 minutes. I slowly come to an end for tonight. Sorry, I got a little angry a little earlier, but I'm fed up of this rubbish that certain people spread around and sell you that, oh, I know things, I understand things. I'm fed up of that. Yeah, and I'm going to call it out. And again, we need to, in this platform, let's see where we can go, right? I mean, that's something that honesty is not wanted. People defend people without knowing, criticize people without knowing system. I think, I know, I've heard. I don't want to hear that, So let me see. Let's see. I don't think so. That guy's been there, so let's see what it is. Been defending those people. Once more, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. Good night, everyone, and let's keep on fighting. For the right thing in regarding Indian football. I will try and do that. I will try and do my little bit that I can, but it's not. It's not the end. Speak to you tomorrow. Good night, everyone.